Well, hello and welcome to day 5 of our Simply Mindful mini class. I'm super excited to be sharing this day with you today. It's great to see that we've come through 5 full days of mini lessons and workbooks and guided meditations and Facebook Live conversations. And I'm super excited that I've been able to share this all with you. As you may be able to tell from my videos and my presentations, I'm super passionate about mindfulness and meditation and the amazing changes that can come from it in our lives. And hopefully you've been able to see some of the reasons why that can be so changing in your life, from your health and wellness, your stress reduction, greater concentration and focus at work, improved clarity of mind, improved relationships due to being able to be more present with people that you connect with, as well as just happiness and greater fulfillment overall. So the science we talked about yesterday was all about the brain and what changes can happen and what the brain states can be like. And so today I want to talk to you a little bit about what about beyond meditation? So I know some of you are new to meditation already, so maybe all you want to do is focus on that, and I understand that's great. But I wanted to be able to give you an opportunity to see sort of what comes from it and what you can do outside of your meditation practice as well. So that's what we're going to be talking today about in day 5, all about beyond meditation. There's a lot here to explore, so I've given you a bit today, and we can always talk more about additional things another time. So let me just first introduce myself, just in case this is the first time that you have come across these classes. So I'm Francescutti, and I am a mindfulness, leadership, and business strategy coach for leaders and executives. And I've been coaching for numerous years. And at first, when I started coaching, I wasn't including my meditation teachings into my work with my clients. But funnily enough, it kept coming up. I kept working with people that were burnt out or overwhelmed or were not taking enough time for themselves in their lives. So we worked on including an exhale sort of approach to their schedule, to how they approached their work days. And the transformations were amazing. You know, I had one client that ended up taking time for her self-care in the morning. So she ended up going for a morning walk, doing some meditation, and did this on a regular basis. The changes that came were amazing. And it was surprising to see what one small change can make and the ripple effects in your lives. So once she sort of established that regular exhale routine, she ended up having more focus and clarity to deal with some of the workplace challenges she was having due to some staff situations. And so she ended up being able to manage the time to resolve those, where previously they had been taking over her most of her time, you know, and then her other workload as well. So she ended up dealing with that. But then she ended up also having more time and more energy for other things. She ended up prioritizing her own workload as well. And she ended up having this strategic outreach project that she had been working on in her mind for years, but hadn't really taken the time to launch it fully and to really get into it. And so after a few months of working together, she ended up having the energy, the time, and the mental space to work on this strategic outreach plan. And she ended up connecting with people in the community more. She ended up meeting with organizations in the region where she was the regional director for a nonprofit organization. And she ended up making connections that were transformational for their line of work. So they ended up creating more support in the region. They created more relationships. They created outreach, and which also ended up leading to more income for their nonprofit, which was outstanding as well. So it was amazing to see that what came from what seemed like a small change at the beginning actually had a huge ripple effect, not only in her own workday, but in the work that she could do in her organization, the impact she could have for the region, and the amazing outcome that could come for her, for the clients within their nonprofit organization, and all the work that they could then now do with greater support, stronger relationships in the area that she worked, as well as higher funds to be able to do more of the work that they were so passionate about in the first place, changing lives. So let's talk about beyond meditation. So the reason why I'm so passionate about meditation is because it helps us cultivate a more mindful and happy life. And so let me explain what I mean by that. So by slowing down and becoming aware of our thoughts and emotions and our inner self, we end up being more self-aware. The power of this comes from recognizing what's going on in and around you, and then you can choose whether to keep it or to shift things a little bit. That's the empowerment that comes from it is amazing. So the first step comes from awareness, and you don't have to do anything more than be aware, and then things naturally happen on their own. But I believe that meditation teaching should provide more guidance on now what. So sure, I'm aware. I don't know. I'm not sure what sort of things come up. So maybe something has come up for you this week that you're aware of that maybe you'd like to shift. So being aware of it, then you'll naturally will move things or not eventually, or not, and that's fine. But having support in how to now do something with it differently is really important as far as I'm concerned. So knowing how to create a more positive and thriving life is important. And so you can cultivate more happiness by reframing your beliefs like we talked about earlier this week. There's also many different ways that you can deliberately create happiness, and meditation is one of them, as is exercise and connections with others and volunteering and going into something where you're in the state of flow. So if you've ever been doing anything where you enjoy it so much that you don't really notice time going by, that is another contribution to creating more happy life. And so there's a variety of different things that you can do to create a happier life and more thriving approach from all different angles. But what I really wanted to focus on with you today was how being mindful can then help you intentionally create more positive habits, more positive thoughts, creating a more positive and supportive lifestyle and leadership approach so that you deliberately choose how you want to act, think, and behave. And this can be life-changing if you want it to be. But don't worry about it. You just take one step at a time and let things happen naturally. But the empowerment that comes from understanding that we can choose to create our own lives. There's a statement I heard once that said, the question, it was a Zen koan basically. It said, who makes the grass green? And I thought about it for a long, long, long time. And the answer I ended up coming up with, and maybe you have your own answer, but what I ended up coming up with is that I make the grass green. I choose what green looks like. Maybe somebody else's green looks completely different, or, but we're the ones that are observing that, just like we're observing our thoughts. And we choose to say the grass is green. We can choose to say the grass is red if we wanted to, or the grass is purple. That really it is a choice of perception. And by understanding that we are not our thoughts, but instead we are the observer of the thoughts, like we talked about throughout this week, that shift is massive. It's hugely life-changing. It can be. And so that's what I wanted to leave you with today, is the empowerment that now you've got the tools, and now you can shape things however you want. You can live in a world where the grass is purple if you want to. It's up to you. So let's talk about beyond meditation. So we talked a bunch about sitting in meditation practice, what to do with the mind when it wanders, how to sit, where to do it, for how long, and all of that, the basics, right, of how to start a practice. But you can bring your mindfulness practice to every area of your life. So first, no matter what you're doing, you just notice what you notice. And don't forget to bring in compassion and awareness and acceptance into whatever it is that you're doing. So once you're aware, you can consciously choose what you want to keep and what you want to change. And at least the things that are in your sphere of influence anyway. So one example I think of is, if you've ever been chopping vegetables with a knife for dinner. I've come home some days from work and been tired, burnt out, overwhelmed, distracted, frustrated, different things, right? And so sometimes when we move through our days, our minds are chaotic and we're not very present with what we're doing. So I'd be chopping vegetables, and I found sometimes I would cut myself. I've been wielding a knife and chopping vegetables for decades, but sometimes I would cut myself. And so what I found, this is back actually near the beginning of my meditation practice, is that I found that what I was doing is I wasn't being consciously aware of what I was doing. I was in my brain. So first I noticed what I noticed. I thought, there we go. I cut my finger. And then I noticed, I'm not being very present with what I'm doing. I'm in my head. And then I thought, okay, I guess I should be compassionate with myself, aware of what I'm doing. And then this is where the conscious choices come in. So you can reframe your beliefs or your thoughts, your habits or behaviors that are no longer serving you. Kind of like what we talked about, taking it from a negative to a positive. So instead, I decided to approach what I was doing by saying to myself, my thoughts, I am present with what I'm doing with this knife because I can hurt myself. It's a good reminder to be careful. And that I ended up changing the practice of chopping vegetables for dinner into a mindfulness practice where I would appreciate the texture and the color of the sweet bell peppers that I was cutting, that I would enjoy the look of the round rings of the purple onion that I was slicing through, and that I would pay attention to the knife, and I would hold things carefully, and I would do this consciously. A couple things happened. First, I stopped cutting my finger. Very rarely does it happen anymore. It didn't happen often, but it was a moment for me to use to look at things a little differently. Sometimes when we hurt ourselves or we end up making mistakes, it's an opportunity to learn and to grow and to do something different. So if you've ever been a perfectionist, or if you're a recovered perfectionist like me, you may understand that sometimes it's easy to give ourselves a hard time. Sometimes we beat ourselves up way more than we need to. And I believe that we can learn better from positive reinforcement than from negative reinforcement, where you're giving yourself negative attention to try to turn yourself away from that behavior. Instead, what you can do is reframe and reshape how you approach things. So in the chopping example, I changed my thoughts into thinking about what I was doing. I changed my beliefs into thinking of a positive, I am enjoying chopping the vegetables safely. And what ended up happening is that I found a moment of joy in something that can be so mundane. It reminded me to slow down and be present in what was happening around me. And then I ended up finding that state of flow that I was talking about, where you can be happy and joyful and lose track of time. Now I enjoy the experience of chopping vegetables so much that I probably would keep chopping if there were more vegetables out there on the counter to chop, just because the process itself has been turned into something so enjoyable. So this is why I wanted to teach meditation to you this week. This is why I want to talk about mindful awareness, because I believe that we can all consciously create our life and our leadership approach in our work and our businesses so that everything is best aligned with you, with us, that we can choose what our life is going to be like. This is the cool thing here. I mean, I talked about brain stuff yesterday. I talked about all the different places you can do it. Some of my experiences of meditating on top of mountain tops and pyramids, I don't know if I ever mentioned that, has been amazing. But it's the day-to-day little moments that really has increased my happiness overall, my enjoyment with life, and the small things. The saying, taking time to stop and smell the roses, is a common one. But as you become more mindfully aware of everything that you do, everything can be pleasant and fun and enjoyable. This doesn't mean stress and unhappy things don't happen, because sometimes they do. But your ability to handle them is shifted. Your brain, like we talked about, is actually physically different, so you react different than you may have before. And if you're enjoying more times of your life and you're actually appreciating and being more mindful in a lot of different areas, then your whole experience of living is different. So remember that you can consciously choose what you keep and what you change when you become more mindful of different areas in your life. And you can reframe how you see it so that it better serves you. So today I am providing you a third guided meditation, and this one's a little different. So I want to share with you a discovery of your vision for the future and what that may look like for you. So that's going to be linked at this video below. So I hope you enjoy that meditation. So as we continue with this day 5 learning and lesson, I have a few questions for you, and I've also put some self-discovery questions in the workbook below that you can download. So a few questions are around your vision for what's next and support. So as you now have been introduced to meditation or perhaps looked at it in a new way this week, do you find that you would like help creating your meditation habit? Do you feel that you could benefit from more support? And if so, what would that look like and where would that come from? Perhaps you have seen that you have a lifestyle that you would like to shift so that you can include more time to exhale. And if so, what would that look like for you? Perhaps you've noticed thoughts or behaviors that are no longer serving you. So what would you like to shift and why? And then what would that look like if you shift these things? If you move from cutting your finger to now doing something where you actually enjoy the process and can appreciate the experience. Perhaps you'd like more support in creating your mindful leadership and lifestyle. And maybe you would like some support to create your thriving life. Perhaps now this has been a moment for you to really see, you know, what I'm doing is kind of working, but not really. Maybe you feel like you're barely surviving, but you want to be flourishing and thriving in all areas of your life. So if you're ready for that, what is that going to look like for you? And why is now the time to do something different? So I would be absolutely honored to support you in your journey and your continued growth and discovery and expansion. And I'm starting a group program focused on these exact things we've talked about here and a whole bunch more. And I would absolutely love to invite you to join us in the group if you would like support from myself and working in a community of like-minded women and leaders to create our thriving lives. But first, I want to leave you with a few more questions. So, are you ready to consciously create your thriving life? I've given you some tools, so how are you going to apply them in your life now, and what's that going to look like? And then, how important are these changes for you, and why? Something drew you to join this mini class in the first place. So, what changes are you wanting to create in your life? And then the opposite question is, what would your life be like if you didn't make any change at all? So if you kept staying doing what you're doing, perhaps barely surviving, instead of flourishing and thriving. And what would that be like? And then imagine what your life will be like when you create your own exhale and thrive lifestyle and you apply these mindfulness techniques that we talked about. You're able to shape and consciously create your life from here forward. So the question I'd like to leave you with this week is, what is your new vision for your life now that you have these new tools and ways of approaching things? So perhaps you'd actually like to close your eyes just for a minute. And we'll do this further in the guided meditation, but just for a moment, relax the body. Tune into your breathing. Allow the exhale to relax the body even further. And just for a moment, allow yourself to envision your ideal, thriving lifestyle. How would that feel for you? What would you look like? What would you be doing? Where would you be? Who would you be with? And what is your purpose? And what is your enjoyment level like? So we'll go further in that in the guided meditation today, but I just wanted to leave you with a moment of self-reflection. So, like I mentioned, I would absolutely love to invite you to start this group with me this month, where I'll be focusing on your exhale lifestyle. We'll talk more about meditation, creating your meditation habit. So having support for 30 days or more will help you create that. And I would absolutely love those of you that have joined this group to be part of this special coaching group that I'll be doing. So if you feel called to continue this journey together with me and you're interested in exploring how I can serve you further, I would love to chat with you privately. So I've created some spots in my calendar this week to meet with you one-on-one. So there's limited spots, so please book your call right away so that you get a time that will work best for you. And I just wanted to share that, even people find that even the conversation that we can have on this call can be life-changing. It can bring clarity to what areas you're wanting to shift, and it will help you see how you can get there. So whether or not we choose to work together, I would still love to take this conversation privately and explore the things that we talked about this week and how it can apply to you personally. So if you've been struggling, or if there have been areas in your life that you'd like to change, I want to leave you with some hope to say that, you can actually change these things. Sometimes it takes time, sometimes things can be quick, but I believe that a better life is possible for you. And I have helped myself and my clients create new lives and better experiences in a matter of a few months. For me, of course, I've been doing this for quite a few years, so I've been able to transform many areas. And now it's my passion to share it with others, especially women leaders, because I believe that we have a huge impact, not only in our own lives and who we connect with in our personal life, but those that we influence in our workday and the organizations that we serve. And so I would absolutely love to support you in this next process of your journey. And so if you'd like to explore this further, please go to my website at exhaleandthrive.com/apply, and you'll see my calendar there. And you can just pick a time that will work for you and we'll chat. So I'd absolutely love to support you. And this group is going to be a lot of fun. We'll meet for a month, or if you want longer support, we can do that too. And we'll talk about creating this habit and getting you that mindful lifestyle that you are looking for. So today, let's close this 5-day session with your new vision for your life. So in the workbook, I've included a bunch of questions that you can journal and do some self-discovery there. Also, the vision guided meditation is there for you as well. So hopefully you enjoy that. And if you want to bring the conversation into the Facebook group, let's chat there as well. So I've so enjoyed sharing this mindfulness journey of discovery, of learning about mindfulness, the health benefits, how to create your practice, the brain changes, the myths and challenges and limiting beliefs, and then today all about creating your new vision for your new life. So I'd love to hear about what you've thought about this course. So if you want to post in a Facebook group or send me an email directly, I'd love to hear your feedback. And I'm so excited for the changes that this can have in your life. So as we close, I encourage you to take some time to acknowledge that you've made an effort to step outside of your comfort zone, that you have tried something new, you have maybe practiced a different meditation, or you've basically acknowledged that you're taking some time out for yourself to learn something, or to be inspired, or to try something in a different way. So remember to take some time today to acknowledge that and just celebrate that you have really done something for yourself. So thank you all for sticking with us through 5 days of this meditation mini course. And I hope that it serves you well. And I wish you all the very best in your journey and these next steps, whatever comes for you next. So I will continue to be connected online if you want to reach out to me through Facebook or email, or through a one-on-one call at my website, again, like I talked about. And I look forward to supporting you further in your journey, however that may look. So all the best to you, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you all again soon. Have a wonderful day.